Now that I'm back in KeyShot, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me assign materials, but I do want to show, if I'm in the Scene tab and I click this envelope, it'll go ahead and show me where that envelope is. I can hide that temporarily, and that'll make it a lot easier to assign materials. And then at this point, it's just a matter of going in and assigning, the hard, shiny plastics here to their eyeballs, and then going into the Materials tab here, and just assigning here. And if you ever get into the situation where you've assigned a material to an object and you're like, oh, you know what, I wanted to give her hard shiny plastic like a dark red so it isn't so contrasty with her skin, and then I go over here and I'm like, oh, perfect, hard shiny dark red, and then I try and drag it over here and it wants to replace all the dark plastic. What that does, and why it's doing that, and it's a feature, is because I've dragged from over here, that kind of groups these all into one object. However, if I ever want to make this another material, I just got to click it, and then I go, okay, that's the object. I'm going to drag this right onto the object here and replace that. And now that I have it over here and I want her lips to be the same material, I can now click her mouth and then go to materials and then just drag that right onto her mouth geo, and that'll kind of break that connection. But now all of these are now red plastic, so if I want to just replace those, it'll replace all of them at once and then get rid of that material completely. Alright, so like I said, I didn't want to bore you with me just assigning materials, but I am going to bore you with me assigning materials, but slightly sped up. So, just like in the Finn video and in the other Flame Princess video, I'm just assigning materials, and we already discussed, once you assign a material, you can assign it to multiple objects and then just tune that one material per material group is really what it is in the Material tab. The only weirdo thing I did was taking that Flame Princess envelope, which is turned off right now under the Scene tab, and applying, I think I ended up applying an area light, a warm area light at like 3000 wattage. And then you go down to the advanced settings, and then you turn off visible to camera, visible to reflections, visible to shadows. If you turn off those buttons, you'll still get the glow around her, and it'll affect Finn. But it won't look weird. So that's the only odd thing I did. I played around with liquid, I played around with glass, I played around with gems, I played around with translucent materials, and I really couldn't get a good gem. I'm going to have to look up or watch some KeyShot material videos to see if I can really nail down like a really nice cartoony looking gem. But for what it's worth, here I am going to the area light here, and then just making it a warm color, and then the wattage, I'm turning off the visible and shadows and reflections and camera, and then just cranking that up. That's up to 1000. I wanted to make a darker background to kind of contrast with her as the primary light source. So she's a light source with that invisible quote-unquote envelope. And then here I am trying out glass and roughness, and when you crank up that refraction index, it just makes it like the Fresnel just really pick up, so it kind of washes out the color, which is the opposite of what I wanted. So it was really just playing around with a ton of different translucent and transparent materials, and I think liquid did okay, glass did okay, gemstone actually did the worst out of the bunch. It might require me to do, just like I did with the envelope of her, is just to duplicate her gem off and then give it like some sort of emissive, and then make it not visible to camera, or just kind of layer some geometry around that gem to settle it a little bit more. I'll have to look into that. But for what it's worth, that's what I did. I changed the specular color as well, so I think this is like the translucency material, and then she's more of a pink gem as opposed to a ruby or something, I noticed. So just changing those colors, it's got a little bit of translucency, and then going to the rendering settings and just cranking up the quality and the samples to kind of get rid of some of that noise.